Hello, welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, Real Talk in Real Time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. We'd love you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So, whether you're here joining us live or listening later, we're glad you're here.
Let's get into it. And man, I have stuff to get into.
This is a big one.
Yeah, this one's already hitting me like right in the eye. So I actually posted on my Facebook timeline this morning, in today's episode of Am I Sick or Is It Allergies? We have goopy eyes and sore throat. And then, yeah, it's not either, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about the sun in gate 23, represented by Jess. So tell us, what are you doing, Jess? Remember a podcast, you must explain your visualization, your visuals.
I don't even know what these things are called.
They are large lopper style pruners.
Lopper style. I mean, probably the size of like from my hips to my head.
Yeah, they're for pruning the bushes and stuff, not the little plants.
These are amazing because you can get like the bigger, thicker things with them. It's like 2 inches or something that you get when you cut them. So these
Actually, those are a bypass pruner. I correct myself. That's a bypass style pruner because the blades don't hit hard on, they pass each other.
I have no idea, but these are phenomenal for my adventures in the garden. So today I'm doing gate 23, which is splitting apart, and the gate of assimilation. And part of the energy of this is the moving into this place where we start to prune away and remove parts. So for my shirt today, I have something that's full of complexity, all these little pieces, I don't know what you'd even call them, like black strokes all over the white shirt. And so really sorting through that energy. And then my
Please
lopper.
tell me you're not going to cut up your shirt with those. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, don't tempt me.
Sure. Right? And so I am representing gate 43, which is the gate of insights or the gate of breakthrough. And I was like, how am I going to show up as this? How am I going to show up as this? And then I had this whole thing going on with my eyes and my throat. And then that comment that I put in Facebook, somebody, Elisa V, commented something and in true manifestor fashion initiated this whole rabbit hole of stuff for me. And I had all these breakthrough insights into some pretty big stuff going on with me that I need to or am ready to release, that I am letting go, that my body is shedding. And in German New Medicine, a lot of symptoms are a sign of a healing phase. I don't know if you're familiar with German New Medicine, but they are, do you know what that is, Jessica? Jess, name as I say. I'm like out of it today. It is a kind of out there, more fringe, metaphysical type of thing that believes that everything in our body is the result of a biological conflict. So without getting too deep into it, it's definitely not mainstream medicine, but it's something that I don't know that I believe in 100%, but I also find a lot of value in looking at it. And this morning was one of those times I found a lot of breakthrough. So I'm just showing up with my no makeup eyes and my little bit crusty stuff probably coming back. And my sore throat showing up and trying to chat. And I'm drinking my warm lemon water. And I am the breakthrough.
You are the breakthrough. I love it. I love it. Is that related to the metaphysical book I have? Is that the same thought? No, completely different.
No, it is. Okay. So I am no expert, but basically, if you look at how species evolve, they create adaptive behaviors because the body responds to things. And so there's a whole bunch of nuance to it that would take this whole hour to get into, but it's really deep. And what I realize is eye issues have to do with things either uncomfortable things you've seen that you are missing seeing, and there's like an association between which side of the body it is on and whether you're right or left-handed. And so mine is on the left, in the left eye, with me being right-handed. So that means it's related to either a close partnership. Usually people think spouse or very like best friend, close business partner, that sort of thing. And if you're left-handed, that would be the opposite. Or if it was on the right side of my body, it would be the opposite, which that is a mother-child relationship, usually something where someone is subordinate to the other or in some way, shape, or form. So rather than the really close equality kind of partnership. So this is letting go of a vision. And with me knowing about human design, this is gate 11. So this is how I think about things. This is abstract thoughts about things. And then my sore throat is really perfect because it's related to the transit right now, 4323. And what I'm letting go of is some feelings of insecurity about somebody in my life with the 4323 prominent in there that I have always really looked up to and kind of put a little bit too much of my own power in their abilities. I've deferred to what they can do oftentimes. And me realizing that when this person said something about them helping me with my sleep apnea, which is also throat related, and I've known is very energetic, I had this resistance, and they told me that was fear of facing it. And I knew intuitively that it was not. It might have been fear, but it wasn't fear of facing it. It was this thing where I realized it was allowing them to be my healer all the time, allowing them to be my savior, allowing them to always, with their kind heart and giving nature, do all the work for me when I am capable of healing myself. And this is part of a deconditioning right now because gate 11 is in my ajna. That 43 that I'm representing right now is also in my completely open ajna, where I'm here to be wise. And this is another thing that I am, I have this breakthrough. And these are things I'm shedding as part of this Scorpio full moon that's coming up with this big release on Monday. And so, yeah, that's been a pretty profound insight, and I'm going to unpack it in my blog. But I've been so busy like with the insights that I haven't started the blog yet. But yeah, so that's been my morning, and I already feel better. Like it's not gone, but I was really, part of me was a little scared because I was like, I'm going to Florida on Monday. I don't want to be sick, right? So I started getting in my head about all that stuff, and then I was like, I kept tapping on it and doing all my stuff. And, yeah, so that was a big thing. So anyway, I just realized I didn't even look in the group to see who's there. And if anybody is in the group and watching and you want to jump in, the, what do you call it? The
Zoom
link, thank you, is in the comment. So
yeah, I've got the Facebook up here. And first off, thank you for sharing all of that. So beautiful to see how this shows up for us in our actual lives, right? So that it's not just the knowledge. It's like, oh, what can I do with this? How can I explore this and experiment with like how it's showing up uniquely for me in my life? And that's the magic and what all of this is. And we'd love to invite whoever would like to join us to come and play and share this energy. I know with this activation hit me really, really hard. When we go into the energy for the different transits, I like to sit in like open space for this energy to feel into it. Like, how does it feel? Sometimes I tune into and I find a song, and the different songs were, what is it? Now I've forgotten the song. It's like Let It Be or Let It Go. It's like a bit about like a breakup song. And the other one was, have you heard the song Skinny Love?
no.
Okay, I'll have to share that with you. It's a beautiful, beautiful, deep song about love. And it talks about, I told you to be patient, and I told you to wait, and I told you to be kind. And, at the end of this, I'm not getting the like lyrics perfectly, but it's like, I'll be holding all the tickets and you'll be holding all the fines. Here, let me actually pull up the lyrics right now. It's just this beautiful, deep song about like, hey, I was getting there, this is how it speaks to me. And so sitting in and pulling in the energy, I was like, okay, genius freak, I understand it on like a piece of paper. I understand like, okay, genius freak. I understand this channel. I've heard the stories, even Sherry Thompson, she shared, how she's had this experience. This is part of her incarnation. Um, and how she's had experiences where she started to share about like energetics and business, and she was the freak and everybody rejected her until later, 5 years later, everybody was doing it and it became the normal. And I've heard these things, but it wasn't until yesterday. I like sat and I sobbed. Like I just cried and cried listening to these songs and feeling into this energy in a way that hasn't hit me with any of the transits that we've done to date, because there was just this feeling of wanting to like scoop these people up, and not just people who have these activations, but people who like experience this energy where you've been so deeply rejected that you've become that freak, where you have this beautiful download, this amazing insight, and you're like, here's this thing handed to me. This is how I can do something for humanity. And it's just this beautiful, and it's filled with love, right? It's how
Yeah.
we come back to this place of love, and you share it and you're rejected, but you're not just rejected then, because this is the channel is it's a projected channel as well. So, waiting for the invitation and that recognition, is that recognition there as well before you share that information, but before you know about human design, or before in life, looking at where has your voice maybe been like hushed, or where have you felt like you've had to hide that part of you because other people, because like the world wasn't ready for it, or people weren't ready for it, because this insight is not insight. It's like years ahead of its time, right? And so there was such in me a feeling of like this deep pain in this, to have this channel in you, and to have this beautiful, beautiful knowledge, right? That you're just like, I just want to share this, and being potentially rejected until you move through and you get to that other side where you trust the timing, where you trust in finding that clarity, that peace, learning how to work with this, that there's such power in it. There's such beautiful power that you can mutate. You can mutate the people around you, like the mutation potential is there. So there is this beautiful side, but I was just really deeply, deeply feeling into this piece of before in that shadow, what that might feel like, because I don't have any of this activated in my chart.
Yeah,
And
me.
feeling, and so I don't know if it felt like this to you, but like feeling into this energy, even right now, I want to cry. It's just this feeling of, in individual gates, there is that level of melancholy, but this was so, for me, so much beyond just that piece of like melancholy where it's like feeling into the sadness, the depths, but then there's that creative in that sadness, or, whatever for the other gates. This one had just a depth for me of like, I just want to hug you. So anybody who's ever experienced a time where they feel like they've shared something, and their own, that truth, the something that, for the world, to bring love, to bring something, and to have that, but not have it maybe formulated in the way that you knew how to speak it out, or maybe it wasn't the right time and maybe later people are ready to hear it. I'm just sending you so much love right now, like so, so, so much love, and know that you are so valuable, and like your voice is valuable, and you as a person and your unique contribution, like you are here to bring that to the world. And I really just truly hope that those experiences that you, like anybody might have had before, doesn't stop you. And so, however we can in this space, like help you to step into feeling comfortable playing and sharing it, even for people right now who are experiencing this transit. If you're getting downloads and you're like, maybe it's not the right time, but I have this crazy thing, and sharing it, like, coming in the group, like, okay, cool, let's be freaks. If people think we're freaks, like share the freak knowledge, like, and like Kathy shared, this stuff right now with this medicine. I forgot what you said, German medicine, or
German New Medicine is what it's called.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But German New Medicine is another one of those things that, a lot like human design, when I first found it, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. This really resonates. And
Yeah.
then I did my open head thing of like, woo, dive in, like find all the questions. And then I was like, oh, no, he was a bad person in these sorts of ways, because he was from a different era, and he was very, I don't even know, because I've let it go, but he was not necessarily um, someone I would view as a moral human being in some aspect of his life. And I don't remember what it is, because I've let that go. But that doesn't, so many times we throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We take somebody's knowledge and we say, oh, they're a bad person because they are this way that I don't agree with. That might actually, they might be like killing people. I'm not saying there aren't times where we're all pretty in agreement. Someone's a bad person. But that doesn't mean that they're not also a genius. And this is kind of very and I'm blanking on his name. And if anybody in the comments remembers the guy who created German New Medicine, his starts with an H, but he probably, I would guess, had the Genius to Freak channel because he was very much that kind of person. And so I disregarded all of it because I couldn't take all of it. And that was very much in the period of needing to be certain with my completely open ajna, right? That's one of the things that we learn to become wise and not have to be certain. I don't need to be certain that even these insights that I've had make sense. They don't need to be, somebody else can be like, that's dumb. I posted that beautiful video, that reel this week about the tree because I saw someone doing it and I was like, I want to try this because I could easily see how somebody could have faked that experience, right? But I also believed that trees are like, they communicate with each other. Why wouldn't they communicate with us?
You want to share with everyone real quick what that experience?
Yeah. So I was getting there. I just doing my long roundabout way. I saw this reel many times where someone goes out by a tree and stands near a little bit longer, thinner branch, not like a big, sturdy, massive branch, right? Something that's light and has the ability to move in the wind. And you stand there and you talk nice to it and you ask it to come closer to your voice, to come to your face and to touch your face. And I did it on camera. I just ran out once because I had seen it several times. And then my niece, Michelle, sent me one on a reel. We always share reels. She sent it to me and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to try this. And I was right by the door. I ran outside and it just stopped raining. I'm standing by this sweet olive tree and it's still got water on the leaves. And I'm standing there and I'm calling it towards me. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, wait, are you touching my glasses? Can you touch my face? And it went down and touched my face. And you could see in my eyes, I was like, but still some random stranger, because, reels go out to anybody. Some random stranger was like, liar. And I'm like, I don't need to convince them. In the past, I would have, had gotten indignant at that. Like, I'm not a liar, Go, I at least told them, go try it. But then I was like, no, because it probably wouldn't work for them because they don't believe it and the tree would know it, right? So anyway, so that was, I'm really letting go of all these needing to be certain ideas. And that's all part of what happens is these German New Medicine teaches that most of these biological conflicts that we experience are part of the healing phase. And it teaches things that some people will say are dangerous because, it disagrees with modern medicine in a lot of ways. But I have found a lot of wisdom in a lot of those things. And honestly, I don't trust modern medicine anywhere near as much as I trust the German New Medicine. So, yeah. Your initial question was
being able to share that. And that's what I was saying, I'll pop a post in the group where, to have a safe space, like this gets to be a safe space, like share your insights here. Like this gets to be the place. Let's talk about German New Medicine. It says here, Dr. Med Reiki Gerd Hammer. Gerd.
What's the last name? Hammer.
Hamer. Hammer.
Hammer. Yeah, that's what I remember. I just remember Dr. Hammer. Yeah.
Cool.
So
hear it. Let's do that. And let's find that voice again. Yeah. This is your invitation right here for this projected channel. Let me find the share real quick. My screen is small so we can look at our
Yeah, and this is one of those channels where for me, I don't have either of those gates either. And so many people who have one of them have the whole channel, right? In fact, Chaitan and Kerala both have the full channel. And so many people that I really look up to in the spiritual community have this whole channel there. And I see them as the geniuses, right? Even though part of their life story was people seeing them as the freak.
Yeah.
What happens for me, and I don't know if it happens for you, one of the things I wanted to comment on all the things you were saying is there's almost for me this like envy in this. Uh-oh,
Right.
I can't find you anymore. That's weird. Well, all of a
I'm in
sudden
the
when you
abyss.
stopped sharing, I lost you. Here you are. Okay. And I thought maybe the Zoom had went dead. But okay. So there comes to be this, I really look up to many of these people as geniuses, right? They have gifts that I envy sometimes, and envy can often get us into trouble because that's a place where we're seeing ourselves as lacking. And where we are undefined, we often think we're not enough. And so I have realized that this is a place that I have spent much of the last few years really feeling like I don't have those gifts, right? And really realizing that I have access to all of these gifts. But getting into the shadow, right? Which I know you were going to share, I don't know if you wanted to start talking about gate 23, we can get into the
Share where it is real quick, just in case anybody, just to have a visual of what we're looking at real quick.
right. And just describe for anybody who might be listening on the podcast.
Absolutely. So right here, we've got the 4323 channel right here. So this is the channel of structuring. It's also the genius freak. So the sun right now we have is gate 23, and then the earth, the grounding in 43. So we're looking at the Ajna for processing, and then also the throat center, which is where we speak out. And it's interesting for 23, all of the gates on the throat all kind of have their own little like sayings. And for the 23, it's I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this channel is known often as the channel of deafness.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this, I don't know why every time you stop sharing, I lose you.
Because I'm restructuring
There you
the
go.
simulation.
Splitting us apart. I can't see you.
You can't bring us apart.
So to assimilate it again, so this channel is individual energy, and it is one of there's three channels that are defined by programming partners, polarities in the transits, right? I'm not forgetting a fourth one, right? It's this one, the 2343, the 3740, and the 2034, right? I think those are the only ones. If I'm forgetting one, somebody put it in the Facebook group, but I'm pretty sure those are the ones. And so they're very common channels because anybody who's born when the sun and earth are in those transits, and anybody who is born when the nodes are in those transits, right? So we have 18, possibly as much as 18-month periods. Usually it's not that long, but they, and so there's this, when we have people in our lives that have a channel where we are open, right? It can really program us in a way through conditioning, right? And so there's also an acoustic nature to all the individual energy. So it makes sense that you were feeling drawn even as we were coming into this energy yesterday. We hadn't really hit yet. But, we feel everything in the time leading up to it. And especially when we're a fixed line of the energy before, that's looking towards this. And it's important to realize there's no like hard, fast, like switch that gets whipped. Okay, now it's gate 23 and 43. It's a gradual feeling, right? Yeah. Just like the full moon, we're already starting to feel that energy that's going to come in on Monday. And with the new moon, we tend to start to feel it at the new moon and after, but with the full moon going into it, right? So this 2343 channel of structuring, it's hard to even talk about it separately, but there are people out there that have separate gates. So it's important that we do break down the gates and talk about how you might be more conditioned in that sense, because if you think about the idea of compromise channels, right, which is something we look at in connection charts where somebody has the full channel and somebody else has one gate. That can cause a lot of uncomfortableness in that relationship because, both people are trying to connect with that one other gate. And especially when you have things like a person who has a full channel. Let's say you're not defined, like now with the 4323 being defined by the sun and the earth or the nodes, it's always, those two are always going to have the same lines, right? Today we're in line 1 for both of those. But if you have a channel where the lines are different and somebody else has one of the channels and it's in resonance with the other, it's or harmonic, it connects really cleanly with yours, there can be an uncomfortableness, almost like that person's taking that away from you because their energy connects more smoothly than yours even does. You think of the electromagnetic properties there. So this whole thing of the understanding the feelings of the individual gates is important because even if you have the whole channel, somebody else in your life might only have one of the gates. So, do you want to talk about gate 23?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Bypass
gate
pruner?
23, so this is, so again, this is coming from the throat center. And just a reminder, with human design, everything comes in. We've got the pressure center and the head, the root, and then everything moves through and it comes out the throat, right? This is the manifestation. This is where it moves out into the world. So the 23 is really about, that inner knowing, this like aha, and it's bringing it into words. It's bringing it into language. It's bringing it into share with the world. And again, it's that mutative energy that has that potential to change the way other people think, like actually change and mutate people around you. So very powerful energy in this, but it's got to be able to have a level of clarity to it, to be able to, this is why it's called, the splitting apart. It's to find that clarity, the essence of it, like making it very, very, very simple instead of that complexity to it. And then there's also that piece of like the right timing to share this. And then noticing like over time, for anybody who has this, would love to hear like your insight, like how this has felt for you, like over time as you've stepped like more confidently into potentially this energy or more confidently into your life, and how that's evolved over time, and how you start to get more of that recognition as you start to build that and trust in that timing, that there is the right timing to share this thing with people. And then from Richard Rudd Gene Keys, we're going from complexity, which would be the shadow, to simplicity, to quintessence. And so he speaks about the complexity this is what is actually splitting the world apart, the complexity. All the things that we have, if you kind of think about like the Marie Kondo concept, all the extra crap we have in our lives, how we like to take on other people's ideas, how we like to take on other people's thoughts, other people's beliefs, other people's like emotion. And we're collecting all of these things in our own internal world, as well as around us. And so really taking an inventory and walking around even like your house and going like, what do I have that I don't use? It doesn't like serve a purpose. And it's not something that like inspires me or brings me joy, that Marie Kondo concept. And then you get to get rid of it. So you're at this place where you have all of these things and it's starting to break it down. It was explained really beautifully like a distillery. If you're familiar about how liquor is distilled, so you start with the grain, but it's actually smashed apart. It's that splitting apart. It's that taking it and breaking it down so you can start to prune. We start to bring in what are these things called again?
Bypass pruners.
These things. And, cutting those pieces off. So you're taking off the dead, you're taking off the excess of it so you can get to that essence of it, to like the actual, like pure. Today's my birthday, Lisa. Lisa just said hello. Everybody wish Lisa a very happy birthday. Oh, that's so exciting. And yes, we'd love to hear about your experience with these. Oh, I'm on my way to birthday dinner. Well, happy birthday. Hope you have a fantastic dinner. And yeah, definitely pop in and let us know how this shows up for you.
Hope
and
you are celebrated for your genius.
Yes, we are celebrating your genius. And you know what? We're celebrating the freak too, right? We are celebrating like the full totality of
Great
all of it, the whole like progression of what you've been through, you know, with this whole energy, the whole channel. So going back
And
to,
I noticed the Lisa V is on
on the
what do you call it? What
Facebook.
Facebook. And I would love for her to hop on because she's the one who got me going on the whole German new medicine thing. And then somebody just said there's no link. But it should be pinned. I'm not sure. Lisa, is that how you got on? Did you get on through the Zoom link that was pinned in the group? So
You popped it in the comments there, so it should.
it is there. So it should show. Just look for it there, yo.
Yes, with the link in the Facebook Live. Perfect. Let us know if anybody's having an issue. And absolutely, please, you know, feel free to come and join us because this is, you know, where the magic happens, where we get to talk about and chat about how this shows up in our lives and how we experience it. So yeah, coming back to the distillery where you have the grain, but it's here to actually get smashed apart. And when you're overly identifying and you're like, but I am the grain and I'm being smashed apart, but that's the process. Like you're here to be smashed apart so you can be transformed into something more, right? And then you take that grain and you start to distill it down and you distill it down until you can get to that pure essence where you can get to that alcohol. And so really getting to that place, and it's through the simplicity. And that's the key there. That's the gift, the simplicity, finding the things that aren't all of that extra. It's not all of those extra clothes. It's not all of the extra whatever it is in your life, that you can come back to that place of simplicity. And that's where you can find that love and that joy and find that quintessence within you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, I always think of gate 23 as being the one who can sit with the things while they're still in this complex, fragmented place and not just sit there in the, you know, the shadow has two expressions of dumb and fragmented, and dumb meaning like mute, right? Like dumb as in not speaking. So being able to know when you're in that place and to be able to sit and wait for the simplicity of it all to gel for you, right? So you can kind of see that way. And I think that that's really a beautiful energy in that. So yeah, and I like and I actually like the image of the still, you know, going with your, because there's like a funnel, right, where everything comes out. And I always describe the gate 43, which if you're okay, I will go to next. But the gate 43 is at that point in the ajna, right? It's right, like the ajna is like an inverted triangle. And it's that point. It's where everything gets distilled. It's where all the stuff that's in the whole ajna comes through. And if it's coming through and you're just everything that's coming through without waiting until you can explain it in a more simplified way, like that's, you know, that's great if you're processing to someone who's able to sit there with it all, who really sees you and recognizes you and has invited you into that sort of relationship. But there's so much that when I'm processing it, it's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. So if I'm talking to somebody that is not in, this is not in their wheelhouse, they're going to be like, okay, right? So, yeah, you know, being able to take that energy that's coming through your ajna and coming through in this concentration and wait for the simplification and that comes so that people can receive it, right? So and gate 43 is called the breakthrough. So if you think of it, it's like that gin, or what are we making? What are we making? Bourbon?
Yes, bourbon. Always bourbon.
Bourbon. I know you like gin too, though, don't you? Isn't that you?
If it's Hendrix, I like Hendrix gin. I don't like normal gin.
So I'm an old fashioned girl, for those of you who are curious. That's my favorite cocktail. So the breakthrough of the bourbon comes through super strong, right? And you can't just put your head under there and drink all that bourbon. You're gonna die. Right? You got to simplify it. You got to break it down. But so But the shadow with gate 43 is, as it's coming out, there's this worried, so it's the shadow of deafness, and it has the two expressions, the polarities of worried and noisy. So, this is when you have all these ideas, you have all this insight, but you're worried. Are they going to receive it? Are they going to think I'm a freak? Are they going to, burn me at the stake? Whatever it is, or, laugh at me. So whereas the other side is noisy, and that's just like blah, 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 with no concern. The deafness is to other people's response, right? Or the noisiness in your brain where you just let all these things be like chatter, 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 chatter. So, and then Lisa says, I love those times when I wait for the simplicity to be filtered down, and those times when quintessence comes through, chef's kiss. Yeah, exactly. So then you get the insight. And when you have that insight, you then often lead towards the epiphany. And I feel like that's what happened with me this morning when I was saying I waited till I got some clarity. And it's really been something I've noticed as part of my whole process of needing to be certain in the past. Part of that used to be looking for a lot of external validation. And I realize how that in and of itself is a kind of noise, right? So you can't hear your own truth, your own voice, because you're busy wanting someone else to tell you. And that was another breakthrough insight I felt I had last night. And I have another story if we have time for it. The last night I was, or yesterday evening, like right before dinner time, I was leaving the grocery store. And when I left, I was driving home and I looked at my hand and I saw that the ring that I never take off. So I never take off my wedding band and engagement ring. And I never take off this ring, which, just so you know, happy ending, I found it. This ring that I got, that was my mother's. My mother passed away in 2012, and I was with her for the last month while she was dying. And when she lost a certain amount of weight, it fell off in the bed, and I picked it up and I put it on my hand. And I've worn it ever since. My sister said, it's yours. It's fine. Because I had organized, it's a mother's ring. It has 9 birthstones for her 9 kids. And I had organized the purchase of it even. So we all pitched in and gave it to her for Mother's Day one year, which is in the US, it's this Sunday. So here I was driving and I look at my hand and this ring I never take off is not there. And I went through all these stages of, like, but there was this part of me where my nervous system was going, this is an important ring. You should panic. But then it was amazing to me how I was able to say to myself, there's no need to panic. This is either meant to leave you now or you will find it. And either way, it's perfect, right? And I was still, getting through, went through all these things, like went home, looked in the bag with groceries when I got home, wasn't there, called the store, wound up going back to the store because I remembered I'd eaten some samples and thrown some stuff in some trash and they weren't going to go through the trash and look for a ring. So I went to the store and got gloves and went through the trash to look for my ring. All these things because it's my mom's ring, right? I can't leave it in the trash. All these things. And I kept saying, I said to a couple people, my mom knows where it is. I'm just waiting for her to show me, right? And, but I still got caught up in the noise of talking about the story and it distracted me from listening to anything until I, was driving home and I was like, okay, I'm going to go look. Right before I went, I think I had it on because I surely would have noticed it wasn't on my hands when I left, driving. And when I got home, I was going to go look in the places that I was thinking of. And all of a sudden something just said to me, look in the dish with all your rings. And I was like, that's ridiculous. I don't ever take it off. And I walked up there and I looked and there it was. And I was like, when I stopped with the noise, my mom told me, I believe my mom told me, you took it off like a dummy last night when you took off the other big ring you wear in the other hand, you just pulled them both off. And then when you put the other ring on today, because the one, these kind of rings I don't sleep in. So when I put the other one on, I didn't even notice it wasn't on because it's so much a part of me, right? So it was a perfect story of me quieting the noise and getting the insight and having this breakthrough. For me, that was huge. It might sound like not a big thing, but it wasn't just huge to find the store, to find it. It was huge that I was able to continually stop the noise and not do my typical dramatic, tell my daughter, tell my niece, oh my God, I lost grandma's ring, that sort of thing that just adds to the noise and keeps me from being able to find that still place, because this acoustic channel needs quiet.
Yeah. Well, celebrating you because that's huge, right? Because it's so easy when you're in that tornado to go further into the tornado, make more chaos. And the louder your mind is, the more you're like, this is uncomfortable. Do all the things, do this, do this. And then, like you said, like spiraling and like bringing all the people into the tornado with you.
They were all so nice, and helpful, but it was still just bringing in more noise.
Yeah. And so celebrating you that you stopped and you're like, okay, I hear this noise. I feel this noise. I'm experiencing this, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to shift this and finding that quiet because that's not easy when you're in the midst of it. Like it's easy to sit here and go, well, it's not a big thing. It's a big thing. It's a huge thing, especially when you're overrun by that. That can be really, really intense when your mind gets going like that. So celebrating that you found the ring.
Has a lot of meaning because not just was it my mom's, not just did I buy it for her, but it's my 9 siblings, and I've already lost 3 of my siblings, so this has meaning beyond my mother, right? This is my family. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this would be something in your splitting apart, you're like non-negotiable. This is part of like the quintessence of me. Like this ring, right?
But
This is part of it.
I was able in that moment to be like, okay, there are times where objects choose to leave us for a reason. And I have to honor that because, if you've ever seen inanimate objects have a design, and the only gate they have is on an identity center. It's gate 25. So it's just 25 on the identity center. That's my shirt, my ring, my desk. That's the design of all of it, right? So it's just interesting to think about that because that's this whole connection to all. So it makes you want, like, it almost makes you be like, okay, so I guess my ring could choose to leave me because maybe for whatever the thing is I'm supposed to get her. I even thought maybe all of this happened. I know now that I believe now that it happened so I could have these insights and know this about being quiet and still with my questions and fears and all of that and not looking to someone else. And that has been a big part of the whole thing I went through with this German medicine thing I was talking about with the insights regarding my eye and my throat. It's like, I am my own healer. I am my own person. I don't need a guru. I don't need a doctor. I mean, not that there is not a place for a doctor. If I break my arm, I'm going to go and ask you to set it. I probably won't do that myself, but then I'm going to heal it. Right?
You know what I'm hearing?
What?
That's why I'm dancing. Radical self-trust.
We need a song called Radical Self-Trust. That might be my next song that I create with AI. I did those who don't know, I did a disco song called Chatty Cathy in the Groove, which was all about embracing my chattiness as a superpower and not toning down how I dressed because some people thought it was too much and that whole thing. But I might have to there, and it does have a line about radical self-trust in it, but I think that might be a fun thing to create a new song. I
love that. And I love that sentence. I'm going to pop that in too. Embracing my, and then fill in what your thing is as my superpower. What are we embracing with this, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said of that. Like, there's a whole process I take clients through where we write down all the things that people said to us that made us cringe. And then we circle the ones that still kind of make us cringe.
Yeah.
Find where they are in their chart as a superpower.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Mine's my 1/8.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I am the contribution. You don't like it, leave.
That 1/8, that inspiration.
Right?
Absolutely.
You got it too. And if someone doesn't like it,
very, very strongly. Yeah. Lisa said 2343 makes me keep my own counsel and know when it's time to disseminate insight. Not when it's perfect, but when it's my time.
Yeah. That's great, Lisa.
And then also a unique perspective, because I reached out. I'm for the Human Design Amplify group I'm in yesterday. It's such a beautiful space because as I'm going through like my crying and experiencing like, oh my goodness, this energy, who has this energy? How do you experience it? And just like met with so much love there and so much insight and just a lot of people feeling like recognized, going like, yeah, this actually has been kind of difficult in places. But someone shared in there that they just have the 43. And that she finds that when I'm seen, heard, and understood, when I'm properly in and not looking for recognition. So coming back to this piece of, that it is a projector channel, like not looking for that recognition outside of you. That first place you get that recognition is within you. I also find I'm in deafness when I need to be alone and to process first. So that's a perspective from just on the 43.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
The majority of channels are actually projected channels. So the majority of channels have an energy that is for us until somebody asks for it. And the head in Ajna is not for us. It's for others. So
As much as it thinks it's here for us.
right? It's really for others to draw it out of us. And this whole experience with my insights was drawn out of me by Elisa V, who said a couple of things on that post about my eye and that it was like a cleansing, I think was the word she used. And that have I looked at German New Medicine? And I was like, oh, I actually have in the past, but and the other thing that I started to think about was I've had issues with this left eye before. And it got really bad. And I was trying to then think, what was going on then? So when you think about some of those things, so it's interesting. And it's not necessarily that it's the same thing, but it's just another conflict, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Dave Meyer said everything has direction.
Ooh. Hey, Dave, come on Zoom.
Come play with us in the Zoom.
Not that I wanted Alyssa too. Anybody who's there, come on. The link is in there. I invited him to come. So, okay, so
You want to go through the lines?
Yeah, let's go through the lines before we run out of.
You're going to have to help me. I have no freaking clue how to say this word. I can explain what it is.
On 23?
For line 1, yeah, for 23. You want to swap? I'll do. Okay, so line 1 for gate 23 is
proselytization. Proselytization. It's like it's a mouthful. How about we call it what Chaitan calls it? He called it validating.
Yeah.
Validating. Aiming your attention on what really needs attention. Try to find the inner conviction to continue relating to life's changing circumstances.
Yeah. So this is like the energy in trying to convert or like persuade somebody to change their beliefs. This word that I am not even going to try and say.
Yeah. It's weird because at first I thought maybe it isn't that word because I thought it was prostelization, but maybe I'm just have always learned it wrong. Or maybe my phone, there should be a T in there.
Proselytization. That sounds so wrong. Somebody help us out, please. Tell us how.
Is that a typo in the reading thing? Okay.
I have a giggle so often. I'm like, I wonder if they put these words in just to like mess with us and be like, can these be?
Dave's in a weird low. You're okay, Dave.
Dave's sending you
this energy. There's like this whole like acoustic melancholy energy of this transit. A lot of melancholy, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
I'm just a little excited because I had this breakthrough this morning. So that took me from being in a place of like, I even thought, should I postpone this till tomorrow? I am like really dragging. I can't put on any eye makeup, which I normally wear for these, which is not a big deal. And I was like, and I just feel like I don't even want to get dressed. And then I was like, once I take a shower, maybe I was worried I'd feel worse tomorrow. And then I started having all these breakthroughs. And then I was like so energized, right? It was so like, oh my God, this is so cool. So,
definitely. Yeah. The energy of this is quite a thing. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So line 2 is self-defense. And then line 3 is individuality. Line 4 is fragmentation. Line 5 is assimilation. And this is again going back to that piece of like digesting. That's where we're starting to really distill it. And then line 6 is where we get to that place of actual fusion, where it all comes together and mixes in together.
Yeah. So it's funny because in Chaitan's book, he has them written, and the hard one to pronounce is in line 5. So line 1 I said was validating, line 2 was tolerating. He calls line 3 expressing uniqueness. He calls line 4 diversifying. He calls line 5 acquiescing.
Acquiescing. I can say that word for.
Yeah, that's easier than processing. I think there's a typo in that. That's why I think we can't say it. I'm going to look that up later. Synthesizing is line 6, creating new forms by combining many different possibilities. So I also love what he says about this energy in general, standing up for your truth in the face of adversity or stepping away from your straightforward path and considering yourself obligated to take some kind of action. The great need for speech skills. Yeah. This is very much knowing how to say it. So, and then gate 43 is called breakthrough. And I'm actually gonna do this. I like to read one and then the other. So like Chaitan or Ra calls line 1 patience, and Chaitan calls it being vigilant. Which they're similar, right? 2 is dedication, and then Chaitan calls it being resolute. Same thing. Line 3 is expediency, and Chaitan calls it being resilient. Standing your ground and implementing your way. Okay, that feels a little different, but similar. Line 4, the one-track mind. We all know one of those, right? 43.4 in Chaitan's is being restless. If you're unable to hear sage advice, you remain indecisive. Line 5 is progression, or in Chaitan's, it's being forthright. Implementing any new insights requires great thoroughness. And yeah. Line 6 is breakthrough, redirecting, according to Chaitan, fostering acceptable and practical growth from insights. This is the gate of great serenity is required to assimilate new concepts so that they can be delivered clearly, paying attention to the bright spark that eliminates hesitation and promotes resolution. The inner ear. And what's really interesting is this morning, before I got up with all of these things, the first thing I did was go put peroxide in my ears because I felt something in. So it's like that was there too, this feeling of pressure in my inner ear. So it's really cool to when you start to unpack how these energies are playing out in your world like that, you know? So if anybody came on and they didn't hear the beginning, I had some kind of crazy insights about some physical things going on that came up to be, for me, very related to all of this. So we've got a few minutes left. If anybody has any questions or thoughts they want to share, Lisa, are you still here? Do you want to say anything before you go to your birthday dinner? We could. No. Jonathan, do you want to say anything? I'm glad you found the link and jumped on. And just pop out if someone wants to say anything. Otherwise, I'm just babbling to fill the space so I don't have to delete seconds of silence.
You're not babbling. Right? It's perfect. I think I'm very interested to see. I actually wanted to go back to last year during this transit and this activation and see what was coming up for me and see if there were like any profound insights that came through during that time that ended up being like genius freak or something, and seeing what I did with that. So I like to still look back, and I'm very interested to see during this activation what comes through now, if something does come through. So if anybody's getting some like cool insights, please share with us. Like, let us know if you have this activated or if you don't have this activated. Like, how is this feeling? How is it showing up for you right now?
Okay, Lisa says I'm good. She's not coming on today. Okay. So it's just you and me. But I do think that there is definitely something to be said with the sitting with our own melancholy, like Dave, if you're feeling that low, sitting with that, feeling that energy, maybe playing some good music that might even make you cry, right? That's all good stuff to get that out and to find what is asking to be released in you as we approach this full moon energy in Scorpio in gate 43, right? What is the breakthrough?
That's me. That's my moon. So
Not 43 though, right?
no, it's not 43, but it's deep, it's intense. Yeah, Scorpio moons. Yeah, and just suggestion again is Skinny Love by Birdie is a beautiful one to really deeply get into those feels. Like,
Yeah,
and
you put it in the Facebook comments, right? The link.
yeah. So
Okay, cool.
that was a beautiful one. Or if you have other suggestions and you're like, hey, this really feels like gate 43 or gate 23, or hey, this feels like the whole channel. This is what I'm feeling right now. Like share that if you have a song that comes through.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be a good question to put in the group. Do you have songs that you connect to certain parts of your chart, right? Like, what is a song that you think, oh, I love this song because it talks about the projector wound, or, even though it's not, it feels like it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, you know, I don't know. There's a bunch of them. They're not coming to mind right now, but there are songs that I think of that, relate to certain centers or certain gates, and that would be a fun thing. I think we actually had somebody one time make a post, and if I can find it, I will look for it in the group, where someone said, what songs do you relate with gates? I think in your incarnation cross is what it was.
For your incarnation.
I remember, I think it was Nancy Fairchild who said, or maybe it was Mary Hobson. I don't know. Somebody said that the fly like an eagle makes them think of gate 52, stillness, because somebody, even though it's the mountain, they said it's the big picture view. It's the eagle soaring, right? And then the 9 needs the focus to come in, but the big picture view of soaring. So stuff like that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting to think of. But anyway.
You know who's a great person for this? Jonah did for HDHD, he did bingo, human design bingo. And I think there was like some kind of like music and you got to like choose who that, like if it was like which was a generator song or projector song or like which gate or which channel or something. I don't remember precisely what it was. And I remember that was a lot of fun. I hope it'll be available later. Cannot join, no link, no entrance, and I have this channel. It's part of my cross. Oh, would love to hear, yeah, how you experience this. No link. So there's a link in the chat.
Yeah, it's at the top of the chat.
And then also in the event itself. So I wonder if it might be easier then as well.
I might not have put it in the event last night because who could ever find it when I did. So I think
right.
But
so I definitely share with
we're about to jump off, so I'm not going to reshare it now, but definitely would love to have your questions, comments, thoughts there. But I noticed Jonathan said he asked how the gates on both sides of the planets are related, because he has the gate 43 in 3 placements. And so I think you're asking like if on both sides, as in both sides of the chart, like the planet.
I think he's saying conscious, unconscious,
right.
and how, if I'm understanding.
The design gates and personality, how are they related?
So what are your?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What are your 3 placements?
Okay, my son is in gate 43, line 6. My Mars is
on the right side or the left side of the chart?
Yeah, the personality side.
Okay. Personality sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my Mars is in gate 43, line 3.
Personality or time?
Yeah, personality.
Okay, and where's the other one?
It's Pluto in personality.
So they're all personality size.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's just going to give you different layering on effects, as there's different you know, that's a little bit more than we can get into all the details of, but each planet has a different theme that it's related to. So you're going to have these themes of this gate showing up for you in all 3 of these planets. So if you look into what each of these planets mean in your chart and the particular lines, that's something you can contemplate how that's showing up for you. But clearly this is a strong message for you in this lifetime. So the stuff that's on the personality side is pretty much stuff that's focused on this lifetime. And it's more conscious to you. Whereas the stuff on the other side is in your body. You maybe not be as aware of it. You do it without thinking. You bring it in from past generations or even past lives. And I don't know, did I miss anything there, Jess, that you want to add?
No, not without talking about it for the next like 10, 15 minutes.
Right, exactly.
I think it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So we will see you guys next week when Jess and I are kind of switching environments, and Jess is going to be in, because I'm in North Georgia, almost in the mountains, right? I got like my woodsy thing out here, and she lives in Boca at the beach, near the beach. And I'm going to be in St. Pete near the beach, and she's going to be in the mountains. So we're going to be a little role reversal for Transit Talk next week. What did we say? The 15th? 14th? Or I don't know.
I don't details.
I'll put it in there. It's so whatever that is. So, all right, everybody. It was lovely chatting again, and I am going to try to work on my blog. And I can't figure out where here it is. Okay. All right. Peace out.
Bye.